Hi, welcome to the Market Alert for Wednesday, the 27th of March 2019. So, not a lot happening in the pound, but there's a lot happening politically, as we'll see today as well. The shape of Brexit and Mrs. May's job are on the line. So, I think we've got something called 7 indicative votes today, and that will hopefully bring some movement to this market. As I said yesterday, it is just incredible given the constitutional crisis that is being called, and the pound is stuck sideways. It's just very, very strange. I mean, the market moved yesterday after Rees-Mogg said that he would back the Prime Minister's deal now, and that's what moved the pound up. And that was it. It's just bizarre. I mean, this thing should be falling out of bed with the prospect of leaving with no deal or a crap deal or whatever. It's just unbelievable. I just don't understand why we have so little volatility in this market. Unless, of course, the elite know that the objective here is that we'll never leave. And that will be it. So they already know in advance that it's not going to happen. And which is why the pound is steady, but it's just very strange unless there's a central bank intervention as well. So yeah, the pound started to move up off the 200 bar moving average. We see prices moving higher. We had a signal, but the market filled this and then failed to continue to move higher, reversing and coming down and taking the trade out before the market stopped. It wouldn't have stopped if Mogg hadn't have come out, and would have moved lower, but as you can see, he made this statement and then the market came back after, when you'll see over here, all the way back to here, the market found some support there. So yeah, very strange. Just a shame he didn't come out a bit sooner and make his statement. This would have been a winning trade here, but very quiet and difficult to trade when it's like this. News today, Super Mario is speaking today at 8 a.m. That should have a bit of an impact on it, depending on what he says, of course. So keep that one in mind. And by the time some of you are watching the alert, it will be over, of course. Meanwhile, in the Dow, also a strange day. The market in the pre-market session, you will see, moving higher, getting down towards the 200 bar moving average, the close of Monday, and then the market just sailed all the way up to the upside, up nearly over 150 points in the pre-market session. And then, as I said yesterday, it was sort of one direction. It was one direction up, and then we had news here about Apple and one or two other things, and that sent the market moving lower, which you will see here. Apple angst and housing horrors hamper stock as yield curve hits new lows, which we'll look at in just a moment. And therefore the stock market was hit, and we saw prices moving lower here once we started to break through the averages. We got a double top situation here, and then a retracement here, and then it started to move lower, and then continued once it broke through the 200 bar moving average here with selling. Again, we got that retracement back to the 200 bar and then continued lower. A bit of assistance before the close to bring the market back a bit, and overnight you will see that prices are once again back above that 200 bar moving average with buying above the DP. So again, bringing some sort of buoyancy to this market. We've actually attempted to get through the 20 bar moving average yesterday. The market failed, but it's having another look at this today. So keep an eye on this one. We've got the 76% retracement to keep in mind as well. 26,000 will be the figure here, not so much the 25,913. It will be very important, but psychologically it needs to break that 26,000 level in order to move higher. Meanwhile, on the yield curve, this lower again yesterday, minus 0.5 for the 3-month against the 10-year. And the thing to keep in mind here, if I can just bring up this chart. Here we've got the Federal Reserve chart of the 10-year against the or minus the 3-month Treasury. And if you look, this is important here. I know we talk about the potential for a recession, but I'd also like to make the point that it isn't going to happen yet. This is not something that's going to turn up next week. Look very carefully. You have to get a reversal in the yield where it goes back to normal first, and you get this sharp rise. At the moment, we're still on the downside. So until we get this turnaround and sharp up move here in the yield curve, you won't get the recession. You can see how this has worked each time, or the potential for a recession, because as I've said before, it is different in this sense that from 2008, the central banks have taken over, and they will print and they will print and they will print to keep this afloat. So, and I wouldn't be at all surprised to hear Draghi say something similar this morning as well with regards to this, as we've got negative rates in Europe. He's printed 60 billion a month for 2 years and then 30 billion a month for another year, and there's absolutely zero growth in Europe. Germany are on the cusp of recession. Italy are in a recession, so it's not done any favours to the Eurozone whatsoever, except stave off the potential for a European-wide recession at some point. But no doubt they'll continue to print and continue to go negative. The whole thing is an unmitigated disaster, frankly, financially, but there you go. You won't get that in the news. You will only hear the political side of it, when the financial side is an absolute basket case with the amount of debt that there is in Europe and holding it all together by printing more and more money. It's the same for every country, but we're fortunate here in the UK from a financial and fiscal point of view is that we can keep printing money ourselves. We don't need to go cap in hand to Super Mario asking if we can have a few more euros. They really are hamstrung over there when it comes to being able to borrow money for their respective public services. Anyway, finishing off with Bitcoin, we see the market moving up. It's range bound, as you can see there, so not a lot to report there. Still stuck in this sideways range. From this high down to this low, watch these levels should prices eventually start to move. Okay, with that, I will call it a day. If there is anything else to report, I will let you know. But otherwise, as ever, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.